All right, guys, you got to see this clip here. So shout out to two friends of the show here. We love Wajahat Ali and we love Joy Reid. And they had on Hakeem Jeffries. I believe this is on Joy Reid's show. And look, this is what accountability looks like. This is what good journalism looks like. This is what asking real questions looks like. We are dealing with fascism is what we're dealing with. Trump is a fascist. He's an imperialist. He's a warmonger. He's a fascist. He's just disgusting in every way and destroying this country in every way. And so we need a robust opposition party. We need an opposition party that actually acts like an opposition party, okay? We need you to shatter filibusters in the Senate, not in the House. But we need you guys to obstruct in every possible way. We need you guys to make MAGA's life a living hell. And so here you have Wajahat Ali is going to ask a question. Why not just say, abolish ICE? We get it. You want the body cameras. You want the masks off. You want all these. We all agree with all those things. We all agree with them. But Trump has lied in deals with people all the time. He'll say, I'll do X, and he doesn't do X. It's happened 1,000 times. 1,000 times. They literally don't even abide by the Constitution when it comes to warrants. So under the Constitution, you need a judicial warrant to go into somebody's house. They're not doing that. They're getting these fake administrative warrants and using that to go into people's houses. Totally unconstitutional. They're still doing it. So why would I think Trump is going to, in a deal with fucking Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, he'll abide by that. He doesn't even abide by the Constitution. Why would he abide by a deal with you? Right? So the only way to actually make a difference here is to defund ICE. That's the only way. And he just gave him over $100 billion. He gave DHS over $100 billion in the big bullshit bill that just passed. You need to defund that. You need to abolish it, but at the very least, cut it back to 2023 levels, right? So he's saying, why not just say abolish ICE? That's the only thing that's actually going to make a difference. And here's the reaction.
I'm going to give you some numbers. Just today, it came out that ICE is using $38 billion to convert warehouses into camps. I'm going to call them concentration camps. Your colleague, Representative Raskin, went to one just yesterday in Maryland and said there were 60 people cramped like sardines in one room who only had access to one toilet. 65% of people taken by ICE had no convictions. That's from the Cato Institute, a right-wing institute. ICE has killed 8 people this year alone that we know of. 2 of them, Renee Nicole Good and Alex Priddy. The latest polls came out this week, AP polls. Over 60% of Americans now disapprove of ICE. That means in 3 weeks, it's gone from 30% to 60%. Now, if I may, I'm going to be a bit blunt here. Leaders lead. And what we've seen is people are impressionable. If you lead on something, people will follow. It seems the wind is behind your back for the first time ever. ICE has a history. CPP has a history of terrorizing Black and brown communities. People are asking themselves, why are we, our taxpayer dollars, paying for masked, lawless men to terrorize our communities, kidnap people, take children, and kill Americans? So I ask you, and I'm doing a following up to Joy, because I want an answer to this. You said you want to rein in ICE. I'm talking about the long term now. Why not lead and say abolish ICE? Because what you're telling us is you want our taxpayer dollars to pay for a lawless masked armed agency to continue terrorizing our cities. And I'm trying to figure out how you, as a leader, can be telling Americans that their taxpayer dollars should be going to ICE.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
I spoke English.
First of all, look at how disrespectful Hakeem Jeffries is there. Look at how disrespectful he is because somebody dared to ask a real question. Somebody dared to hold him accountable and say, hey, the only way to actually stop the ICE Gestapo thugs is to defund them, is to abolish it. That's the only way to stop them. Any other deal, Trump can rip up, he can ignore. They've already disregarded shit. As of July, it was 57 different court orders. But now it's probably way more than that. And there's been 4,400 examples of people ICE arrested totally illegally. And again, that's just the ones that we have like court cases over it. It's probably way more than that. You got all this stuff. They violate every law in the sun. And you get mad when somebody says, hey, maybe you should abolish that rogue agency. Maybe you should abolish Trump's paramilitary secret police that's doing abductions and human traffickings. Man, the fucking nerve on Hakeem Jeffries. Holy shit.
Can be telling Americans that their taxpayer dollars should be going to ICE.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
I spoke English.
I don't understand anything that you've just said to me when I've made clear that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them. That's the whole reason we're in this fight right now. That's the whole reason the DHS is getting ready to shut down. That's the whole reason
ICE.
why
you agree with me, Joy. Abolish ICE.
Listen, I'm going to use the language that I want to use. You can use the language that you want to use.
Oh my God, that is so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. He's actually trying to help you here. He's trying to give you an out. He's trying to say, okay, so abolish ICE. Like, it's literally like a softball down the center of the plate. All you got to do is say yes. All you got to do is nod your head. That's it. That's all you got to do. And then everybody in the comments goes, oh, thank God, right? Can't do it. Can't do it. Why? Because he doesn't believe in it. He doesn't actually believe in it. And he's still stuck in his mind back in like fucking 2017, we're like, there was a time where this didn't poll well. Okay, well now it fucking does. Now it fucking does. But put aside the polling stuff, because even if it did still poll poorly, it would still be the right position. It is an ethical and a moral position to say, hey, the secret police, the Gestapo thugs, should stop it. They shouldn't be secret police. They shouldn't be Gestapo thugs. They need to stop going on this crime spree. I'm sorry, it's just bitch-made shit. This is just bitch-made shit from Hakeem Jeffries.
The language that I'm using right now relates to these type of bold, meaningful, dramatic changes that are designed to save lives right now.
Here's the problem, though, Hakeem Jeffries. They are bold and meaningful changes on paper. If all the changes the Democrats were asking for were to be implemented and they actually abided by it, that would be a huge difference. We don't trust them. You shouldn't either. We weren't born yesterday. Don't be naive. The only way is to cut their funding. That's the only way. You can get them to stop.
In communities that look like the ones that I represent. And that's the goal.
So let me ask you this. Yeah. And I hear what you're saying.
Every single Democrat together in the House and in the Senate is what we're trying to do to give us the best shot to win this fight right now while we're in the minority.
Unbelievable. But we get the same thing here on the issue of AIPAC. Ready for this?
Well, I do have one question about accountability, and I'll put my cards on the table. I'm against fascists and MAGA and Donald Trump, and I want Democrats to win, but I want the right Democrats to win. And I remember the YouGov poll that came out after the 2024 election said the main reason why Democrats stayed at home was their displeasure with the genocide that's happening in Gaza. And what we've seen is AIPAC. AIPAC now has spent $2 million attacking a moderate-leaning Democrat, Tom Malinowski, a Democrat, in the special House election in New Jersey 11th District. And we got a progressive Latina, Representative Mejia, who won, who, by the way, says abolish ICE. My question for you, if you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for change, shouldn't Democrats stop taking money from AIPAC that has spent so much money against Democrats?
Listen, everyone's going to have to make their...
By the way, I love the way he framed that question. He's outflanking Hakeem Jeffries on the thing that Hakeem Jeffries is supposed to be strongest on. Like, oh, I'm the Democrat protector. I'm a leader of the Democrats. The way he's phrasing that is like, bro, they just hate Democrats. Why would you take money from them? They're clearly like a right-wing op. They're clearly like they represent Likud and Netanyahu and MAGA and Trumpism. And so basically any Democrat who gets funded by them, they're a dino. They're a Democrat in name only. They are diet MAGA. That's what they are.
My view as it relates to Democratic incumbents, first of all, is that I will continue to stand by every single one of them, whether that's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the one hand.
This motherfucker wouldn't even endorse Zoran Mamdani. I know that Zoran Mamdani was running for mayor of New York, so it's different. They're not in the congressional caucus. I get that. But like, don't give me this like, oh no, I definitely support. No, you don't. If the person is actually to the left of you, you guys have no problem fucking sitting it out or shutting the fuck up or even trying to hurt them behind the scenes, right? So don't give me this shit. It's just not true. And also, by the way, you shouldn't. Like, if you actually want a Democratic Party that believes in shit, you should want a Democratic Party that facilitates actual left-wing candidates who believe in something, right? You shouldn't welcome in people to the party that'll be your undoing. Like, you know, you're only as good as your most conservative Democrat. That's something that we all learned for sure during the Biden era. And we could have got Build Back Better and transformed the economy and made it so Donald Trump definitely wouldn't have gotten elected again. Or we can get the IRA, which is what Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin allowed. And that leads to a stronger right wing that ends up coming back and doing well. You see what I'm saying? So like, since that's the reality, you should be for actual left-wing Democrats. But the problem with Hakeem Jeffries is, just like with Nancy Pelosi before him, is like if you're at the head of the Democratic Party, usually you're there because you're the best fundraiser and you have the most connections. And those fundraisers mean they're taking money from crypto interests, for example. There was that article about how Hakeem Jeffries basically went hat in hand on bended knee to the Silicon Valley AI tech billionaires after Trump won, basically saying like, hey, we're cool, bro. We're still open for business if y'all want to donate to us, dog. Meanwhile, like, no, those people are the problem. They should be the centerpiece of your campaign moving forward. Like, it should be, hey, MAGA blames trans people and immigrants for all your problems. We blame the billionaires, and we're going to take on the fucking billionaires. Fuck those motherfuckers. We don't want a penny from them. We want small dollar donations from regular Americans so that we can take on the actual demons in the system, the fucking billionaires. But no, he went hat in hand, begging for support from them.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the one hand, or the most conservative, moderate Democrat on the other, who's sitting in the Trump district and at all points in between, right? That's what I'm going to do as House Democratic leader. Now, in terms of how people individually fundraise, I'm proud of the fact that my average contribution amongst the millions of dollars that I've been working hard to raise for my own reelection that I use to help elect Democrats in other parts of the country is $27 per contributor. That's my average contribution. That's probably the lowest.
He takes a shitload of money from the Israel lobby
in the Congress. And so now everyone is going to raise money from their own constituents in different ways, and their own constituents are going to have a variety of different perspectives on a variety of different issues. But make no mistake, there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans, and we're seeing that right now. I know some people like to project otherwise.
No. Okay, no. This is bullshit. Don't give me this bullshit. From my perspective, the most common position I see now from Democrats is like, of course Democrats are better than Republicans. Of course. Like that's a given. That's a fact. But don't use that to then justify and rationalize being a weak, feckless Democratic Party that won't say abolish ICE and won't say no more money from the Israel lobby. And that's what he's doing. He's using that to deflect from the serious problems in the Democratic Party. And this is the most important point. If Hakeem has his way with the party, we are more likely to lose. That's the fact. Like, people need to feel, at the same time MAGA is imploding and they're horrific and they're terrible, it's still a case that the polling numbers for Democrats are very low right now. Like, they're literally only winning because they're not Republicans. It's that simple. But as I always tell you guys, imagine a world where not only are they just anti-MAGA, but it's also like they'll fight hard on all of the areas where they should against MAGA, and they represent Medicare for all, free college, a living wage, ending the wars, a Green New Deal, getting money out of politics, paid vacation time by law, like real fucking serious policy changes. Unions, they actually represent, the PRO Act, so everybody can join a union and make more money and have better benefits, etc. And so he's using this as a shield to deflect, and it's just gross.
How one can see the horrors of what has been inflicted on the American people since January 20th of last year and conclude otherwise, or want to try to suggest that there's no difference in one's quality of life. When I go to Bedford-Stuyvesant or Brownsville or East New York or Canarsie or the West End of Coney Island, people know that their life is being made markedly worse because of who's in office right now, both in the White House and the House.
Well, Representative, respectfully,
and we're determined to do something about that.
Just a quick follow-up. So that means, will you stop taking money from AIPAC?
I'm going to continue to raise money in the same way that I've been raising it, where the average contribution from millions of people across the country is $27 per contributor.
That means no, he's not going to stop taking money from AIPAC. He's going to keep taking money. And by the way, their new trick, don't get it twisted, their new trick, it's not even just like, hey, stop taking money from AIPAC. That's not the actual position we should have. The actual position is, don't take money from any element of the Israel lobby. That includes Democratic Majority for Israel, that includes AIPAC, and that includes, there's these new ones that pop up all the time, where it's like, I'm going to make up a name here, but the gist of what the names sound like is like, People for Democracy, or in Women Voter Coalition. Like, they literally come up with these benign sounding things, but you trace it and it's like, oh no, that's the Israel lobby. That's the Israel lobby. And they know they have to do that now because they know how unpopular they are. They have to come up with new groups. They have to try to head fake people into thinking it's not Israel. And oftentimes, like, the Israel lobby will spend a bunch of money in a Democratic race. They will not bring up Israel because they know we can't actually win on the substance. If we say this Democrat's pro-Israel, they're more likely to lose. So they hide the ball and they start attacking their opponents on other grounds, right? Oftentimes making shit up too, by the way. Look at the disappointment on Wajahat Ali's face.
$27 per contributor.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
I had more questions, but
his face is like, I knew this motherfucker. I knew this motherfucker would not step up to the moment.
We have to get our next guest on. Thank you so much, Representative Hakeem Jeffries. Please come back because I have some more questions about gerrymandering and about the November election protection, but I have kept our next guest waiting too long. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your time.
Jesus Christ, bro. I mean, look, it really seems like a low bar at this point when ICE is the Gestapo. They just are, right? They just are. The shit they're doing is absolutely positively unconscionable. It seems like a pretty low bar to be able to say abolish ICE, or at the very least defund ICE, or even just like cut funding back to 2023 levels. It seems like that should be the bare minimum, and you're not getting it. You're getting this list of things they want, which admittedly, at face value, all those things they want are good things that I support, but I don't trust Trump to actually implement those things and abide by it. He violates agreements on a daily basis. He doesn't give a fuck about following any sort of deal, right? So you have to cut the funding. So at this point, you should be willing to say abolish ICE or cut the funding. He's not. At this point, you should be able to say, we're not going to take AIPAC money. We're not going to take any Israel lobby money. And we're going to say cut off all the military aid to Israel. We're done with that. But he can't. He can't. And it just shows when you're leader of the party, oftentimes you represent the moneyed interests. You represent the donor class. And that's a shame because he's right. Democrats are way better than Republicans. But the criticism we're making is like, you need to actually represent something that is the opposite of MAGA. You actually have to represent left-wing values. You have to represent equality and justice and fairness and, you know, an anti-war perspective and an anti-genocide perspective and an anti-secret police perspective. And it's just, they don't really represent that. Like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, their pitch is like, hey, we will be a kinder, nicer, gentler version of MAGA. We are diet MAGA. So we don't want to abolish ICE and we don't want to stop taking money from the Israel lobby. So yeah, we'll keep funding the genocide, but we'll say, hey, can you do it slower and can you do it more kindly and can you do it in a way where you don't see as much gore and violence on everybody's screen, right? Hey, can ICE, can you stop, maybe totally ripping apart the Constitution? Maybe abide by the whole warrant thing? Maybe don't militarily occupy cities, but do your invasions on the hush-hush? Like, that's sort of the vibe I get. And I'm sorry, but in this moment, you need so much more than that. You need, for all of the insanity of that MAGA represents, like I said, you need an equal opposite force to drag the Overton window and the political spectrum back to the left and bring this country back to sanity. And I'm sorry, it just requires people who are willing to meet the moment. They're willing to say abolish ICE. They're willing to fight for abolish ICE. They're willing to tell the Israel lobby to get fucked. They're willing to cut off the money to Israel. This all seems very basic, especially since, as they pointed out, that was one of the, like a very important issue in the election that a lot of Democratic voters felt like, hey, Democrats are not sufficiently anti-genocide. That depressed many voters. So great job there. And, it's very rare we get these moments of real accountability, but it really puts mainstream media to shame that like this stuff isn't being asked of him 24/7. But bottom line, Chuck Schumer should resign. Hakeem Jeffries should resign. We should have people in their place who actually want to fucking fight. Think of like Mark Pocan, for example, or Pramila Jayapal would be better to be House Democratic leader, and Chris Murphy would be better, or Chris Van Hollen would be better to be, Senate leader. And at least in a scenario like that, you would get more actual fight. You would get more actual obstruction against MAGA, and you'd get an actual democratic philosophy that's represented, not this diet MAGA bullshit. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much, man. Thank you, as always, for listening to me babble and run my mouth. I love that you guys are still here after all this time, listening to me do my thing. So please do me a big favor, y'all, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. You can click that bell icon, too, so you get a notification every time a video drops. You can also support the show on Patreon. You can support Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack, and you, of course, can go subscribe to Corin's World. As I said, there is no Kyle and Corin this week and next week, but we'll be back after that. But still go sub to Corin's World and come hang out with us for the live Kyle and Corins. All right, guys, I'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace, y'all. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.